Chapter 9 Last Days of Galilee. Near a week after this, Jesus and his chief officers, meaning Peter, James, and John, left the ship and marched inland to one of the high mountains of Galilee. Up and up they went, until they was all alone, standing high above the ocean. And it was there that a wondrous change came over the captain. His duds began to glow like they was lit up by St. Elmo's fire, brighter than the flash of a gun muzzle. And suddenly there was two other fellas there as well, Elijah and Moses from the elder days. They was holding parley with Jesus and talking to him about his commission from the Almighty. Then Peter chirped up and called out to him, "Ho, Captain, 'tis lucky you have us lads with ye. We'll build your friends and ye some huts to live in." It was a ridiculous thing, but they was all scared witless by what they was seeing afore 'em. Aye, but there was more to come. No sooner had them words left Peter's lips than a great cloud appeared. Bright it was, like the plume of some volcano. It closed around 'em, and then a great voice came booming. "This be my Son, whom I love. Give ear unto him." It lasted but a moment and was gone, and then they was alone with the captain once more. "Keep all this to yourselves, boys," said he, as they legged it back down the slope. "This be a secret to be told after the Almighty's man has risen from the grave." Now this talk of rising was just as puzzling as everything else that had happened that day, but the question they ended up asking was about another matter. "Captain," they asked him, "why do all the clergy say that we shouldn't be looking for the Almighty's man until Elijah has come?" Jesus answered him with a nod. "Aye, they be right on that score. The tomes of the Almighty do indeed declare that the prophet will come and set things to right before the coming of the king. But here's something for you to chew on, lads. If that be the case, why do the tomes also testify that the Almighty's man must face mutiny? Truth is, Elijah has come already, and they did just what their black hearts pleased with him." When they came back to the ship, they found the rest of the crew ashore and engaged in a shouting match with some of the clergy. It broke up as soon as the crowd saw the captain, for they all rushed away to join him. But when he got closer, he asked them what they'd been arguing about. "'Twas about me boy here, Captain," called one of the lubbers in the crowd. "I bringed him to see ye, for he's got a devil that's robbed his speech and has him throwing fits. Your men had a go at it, but they couldn't drive it out." Jesus looked round at them all. The man, his crew, and the clergyman smirking at the rear. "You're a faithless lot, aren't ye? How long will I have to tarry amongst ye? Bring the boy to me." Even as they was bringing the lad forward, the devil in him caught sight of the captain and began tossing the boy about, writhing on the ground and gnashing his teeth. "How long's this been going on?" Jesus asked the lad's father. "Since he was a pup," was the answer. "'Tis one to kill him. Sometimes it'll throw him into fire or water. If you can do anything, I'd be mighty grateful." "If you can," said Jesus, "mate, all things be possible for them what has a bit of faith." Suddenly the fella's voice cracked. "I do believe. Help me with me lack of faith." Over his shoulder, Jesus could see a big mob of folks running up, so he cut it short. "Devil," he said, "deaf and mute devil, go forth from this cove and come not back." Well, all of a sudden the lad let out a terrible cry and gave a hideous jerk. After that, He was so still that folks said he was worm food. But Jesus grabbed his mitt and raised him up so he stood on his own feet. Later on, when they was back aboard, his lads asked Jesus what had happened. "Why couldn't we drive it out, Captain?" "That kind needs a bit of prayer." And he looked at him peculiar. "You might want to try that sometimes." They weighed anchor, and for a while sailed out into the bay away from the crowds so he could teach the crew. "The Almighty's man'll be sold out, mateys," he told them. "He'll end up in the clutches of men who'll send him to his grave. But 3 days later, he'll come back up." But they still didn't know what he was talking about, and it made him afeard to ask. They spent a day in Capernaum after that, for fitting and repairs. They worked on the ship, and then, after sundown, the officers was gathered at his cottage. Jesus asked them what they'd been discussing amongst themselves as they'd been loading the stores. Now, he asked them casual-like, but they kept their hatches battened and their eyes on the fireplace, for the topic of their disputation had been which of them was the biggest man in the crew. When he saw that they was keeping quiet, Jesus stood up and walked over to the window. "You got it awry, me shipmates. If any of you wants glory, he needs to put himself last and think of himself as a slave." He reached out through the window and picked up a whelp that was standing on his tiptoes neath the sill. He took the lad in his arms and set him down afore 'em all. "See this boy, mates?" he said, ruffling his hair. "You'll know you're on the right tack when you're ready to welcome a nobody like this. Him what cares for a whelp like this for my sake, 'tis the same as if he'd welcomed me."